All right, let's continue with looking at review for factoring. So for factoring, we're going to factor quadratic function. It's usually written in form of ax squared plus bx plus 6c, but we're going to start looking. We're going to start with looking at my x to be my a to be a number 1. So the first example, x squared plus 10x plus 16. So to factor this out, I'm going to go ahead and draw my x factor and put my letter C, which is 16 on top, and then 10 on the bottom. So 16 on the top, and then 10, which is my letter B, on the bottom. Then we're going to look at some factor of 16. All right, so what are some number that I can divide by 16? I can do 1. I can do 1 times 16, 2 times 8. I cannot do 3, 4 times 4, and that looks like it. So by looking at now, here are the 3 factors of 16. Then I have to pick which pair, if I add or subtract, will get a 10. And I can see that 2 plus 8 will give me a 10. So 2 and 8 are my choices for this. Therefore, my answer for this is x plus 2 and x plus 8. So when factoring, you can write the x factor, look for some factor of the multiplication number, which is the letter C, and then pick 2 numbers. When you add or subtract, you get the your letter B, which is 10 in this case. All right, let's look at one more. What if we want to look at x squared minus 8x minus plus 12? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my x factor, put 12 here and negative 8. Then again, we're going to look for some factors for 12. I can do 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 4 times 3, and then, 3 times 4, sorry. 3 times 4 or 4 times 3, and then that's it. Now, by looking at this, I can see that the 2 numbers that I can add, when I add or subtract, I will give me 8 are the 2 and 6. So here is 2 and 6. Now, I need to figure out, okay, because my B right here is negative 8, we need to figure out what will it be 2 plus 6, or 2 plus 6 gives me 8. If I do 6 minus 2, that gives me a 4. So that wouldn't work. If I do 2 minus 6, that's negative 4. So that doesn't work. If I do negative 2 minus 6, that's negative 8. Therefore, both of my answer has to be negative. So negative 2 minus negative 6 give me negative 8. And I know that negative 2 times negative 6 give me 12. So my answer for this is x minus 2 and x minus 6. All right, let's keep on going with the next example. Is that's B. All right, what if I have x squared plus 4x minus 21? This time my C is a negative, so here is negative 21 and 4. I'm going to place my meter terms in the bottom, and let's look for some factors of 21. So I can do 1 times 21. I cannot do 2. 3 times 7 is 21. 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3, so that's the same thing. And then by looking at this, I can see that 3 and 4, if I add or subtract, if I subtract, that will give me a 4. So 3 and 7, sorry. Now I need to figure out which one will be a negative. 3 minus 7 gives me negative 4, and 7 minus 3 is a positive 4. So my 7 has to be a positive, 3 has to be negative. Therefore, my answer for this is x minus 3 and x plus 7. All right, moving on to letter D. If I have 5x squared plus 15x plus 10. Now, This time my a here, it's no longer just x squared, not 1. I mean my a, it's no longer 1. I have 5x squared. The first thing that you always want to do is you want to see if there's anything you can factor out, or you can try to see for all three terms, is there any number that you can multiply both of them by. In this case, we can see that 5 is divisible for all of them, so I'm going to factor out a 5. When I factor out a 5, 5 divided by 5 give me 1, so I'm left with x squared plus 15 divided by 5 is 3, so 3x plus 10 divided by 5 is 2. Then once I have this, I see that I have left with, in parentheses, x squared plus 3x plus 2. So I'm going to write my x vector here. My c is 2, my b is 3. Therefore here I'm going to look for some factors of 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Or 2 times 1, that's the only one, so I can see that 1 and 2 are my number, and 1 plus 2 does give me a 3. So here is my 5. My factors are x plus 1 and x plus 2. Alright, let's look at our last example here. If I have 2x squared minus 5x minus 7. This time, by looking at this, we can see that we cannot factor any number out from all of those three terms. So to do this, what you're going to do is we need to multiply our first letter and our letter A and C. So 2 times 7 gives me 14. Then I'm going to draw my x factor. 2 times 7 is 14, and then this is negative 5. So I'm going to look for some factors of 14. I can do 1 times 14, 2 times 7, and that looks like that's it. And I can see that 2 and 7 will give me my negative 5, and 2 minus 7 is negative 5. Therefore here now we can't go and write, we cannot say this is x minus 2 and x minus 7 as we did earlier. Because we have a 2 here that is not a 1, we cannot do that. So what we need to do is we're going to say this is 2x squared. Use the 2 and 7 by saying plus 2x minus 7x minus 7. And we can see that here that our my 2 and my 7 here gives me 2 minus 7 give me negative 5x. Once we do that, we will have to do factor by grouping. So by what that means is that you're going to group your first 2 terms together and your last 2 terms together. Then we're going to see if there are anything we can factor out from the first term. I can see that they both have 2x, so I'm going to factor out 2x. Once I factor that up, I'm left with x plus 1. On the second term, they both have negative 7, so I'm going to factor out the negative 7. Once I do that, I have x plus 1. When you get to this step, make sure to check that both of your what's in your parentheses are the same. Because they are the same, now we can factor that out and say this is x plus 1. And then once I factor this out, you can look at it as this is one thing and this is another thing. Once you factor out the 2x plus the x plus 1, what we have left is the 2x minus 7. So 2x minus 7 is the other factor that I have.